First off, what does the Ultimate Evil Edition bring extra
to the the fact that it has a really long name, so Diablo III Reaper Souls Ultimate Evil Edition, really speaks to the quantity of cool new features we're adding. So not only do you get the base Diablo 3 experience, right, you also get Reaper Souls with all the great new content we added. For example, like the Crusader, which is a new playable class, Act 5, Adventure Mode, Loot 2.0, Paragon 2.0. So all the things really made Reaper Souls such a special experience for D3. Plus, we're adding a bunch of very specific console features. One of the big pillars for the Ultimate Evil Edition is share your adventures. So one of the best ways of playing Diablo 3 on console is playing with 4 of your friends on the same couch, on the same screen. So we've done a lot of things to really make that experience even better. One of the small things is we have, you know, we used to play with your friends, especially you have barbarians. They always took all the loot because they're always up front killing everything. And as much as I like doing that because I'm a barbarian, so that worked out. My friends didn't like that a lot. So we actually do what we do on PC, which now, even when you're playing on the same screen, we drop loot per player. So if he picks up a sword for me, it will automatically show up in my inventory back and that just means that the players can keep on playing. It's one of the small features that we've added for Reaper Souls, but really it's the other social features that we're really excited about. And my favorite one is the Nemesis system. So if you're playing Diablo, sometimes you will die. It happens to the best of us. But with the Ultimate Evil Edition, every time a monster kills you, there is a chance that that monster is going to level up and it's going to open up a portal and step through the portal and go hunt one of your friends on your friends list. So if I'm playing and I die, right now, Matthew's on my friend list, the Nemesis will portal out of my game, you know, level up, and then the next time he's playing, he'll be playing, he'll just be, you know, killing monsters, and all of a sudden the
controller's going to vibrate,
the music's going to play, and the portal opens up, and the Nemesis is going to come out. And the Nemesis has, you know, special powers, and it's going to be a really big fight, really challenging fight. Now, if I kill him, or Matthew kills him, right, he will get a great reward, I will get something in return, and so we have a really cool story. But if Matthew doesn't kill him, then he's going to jump into one of his friends' games, right, and just going to sort of propagate.
Just keeps going up.
And every time he grows in powers, and also every time he kills a player, he creates a shadow version of that player that's going to accompany him and attack you. So that first Nemesis that attacks me would have a shadow barbarian with him as he attacks me.
What would you say is the better experience now? Is it the PC or the console?
Well, this is kind of a trick question, isn't it? No, you know, something to take very seriously is it doesn't matter what platform you play Diablo 3 or Reaper Souls, it needs to be, you know, the premier action RPG experience, right? So, you know, this is why we release them so one at a time, so we can focus all the efforts on making first the PC version super solid and awesome, like we mentioned Loot 2.0, removing the auction house, like all these things. And now that we're coming up to Ultimate Evil Edition, we really say, like, what can we do to make this experience feel handcrafted for the console, right? To make it really feel special for the console. So ultimately, is what do you prefer playing? Do you prefer playing on a PC, you know, in your desk, or you prefer playing on your couch, your big screen with your friends around? It's ultimately your choice as a player.
Okay, but considering how much extra content you've added to the Ultimate Evil Edition, would you say that Diablo from now on is gonna be console first, or are you just keep going to release it first on the PC and then on the console?
Again, we're going to continue doing that staggered approach. So I mean, right now we're busy finishing up patch 2.1 for PC, and we're really happy to announce that for the Xbox One and the PS4, we're going to be releasing the same patches at, you know, slightly different sort of time frames. But again, we're going to look at every patch and say, like, how we can make the PC version awesome, and then how can we make the console version awesome. And sometimes we'll try to bring features from the console version over to PC, and then we'll bring features from the PC over to the console. As long as it makes that experience for whatever platform, very awesome.
The nice thing about the staggered development is, as you know, oh, we come up with something really, really cool for console, we play it, our community gives us feedback on it, and they're like, oh, this is great, blah, 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 and so we think, oh, well, would this make sense on PC? How can we bring it back to PC? So one feeds into the other, and it just becomes this cohesive universe and this great game on both platforms.
Okay, speaking about consoles specifically now, let's say that I have an Xbox One and one of my friends has a PS4. Which one of us gets the better experience?
Oh, that all depends which platform you like playing. We try to really make sure that, again, it doesn't matter what platform you're playing, PC, console, or even Xbox, PlayStation, we want to make sure that the experience feels sort of handcrafted for that platform.
Okay, but are there any differences, content-wise, performance-wise?
No. Content-wise, it's the same feature set. From a performance standpoint, again, we're really happy to announce that it's running at 1080p, 60 frames per second on both Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So
I asked because just before I got here, I read a review from the guys at Eurogamer that didn't focus on the game specifically, but on the frame rate, and they said that the PS4 version doesn't constantly run at 60 frames per second.
So that was up there. There is a bug in our rendering system, and we're addressing it right now, and that problem is as soon as we patch, it's going to go away.
But to be fair, while we're addressing the problem and it's very important to us, it's imperceptible. I mean, it basically is. It's a fraction of a frame. It'll drop under 60, literally just under 60 for a second, and then it goes up again. So, but we obviously feel very strongly about this, so we already have a fix in, and there'll be a patch at some point.
Okay. So let's say I have Diablo on my PC, but I also have a next-gen console. Is it worth it for me to still buy it and play it on the console just to get that extra content that you've added?
Oh, I absolutely think so. I think because they're both slightly different experiences. I think the social aspect of being able to play on your couch, or even the asynchronous social features we added to console, make it pretty fun. But I also think that there's something about direct control. So on PC you have indirect control, like you click on your screen and your character moves there. When you're playing Diablo on console, like you are the Crusader, you are that character moving on screen, and that tactile, that intimacy you have with your character really makes the experience really feel like a legitimate action game. So even though they're both, have similar features and they look the same, direct control really changes the experience at a very fundamental level, and that's why I love going back and forth between playing on PC and then playing on console.
Okay, so a bunch of websites already tested the game. I didn't get a chance to read the reviews. How do you feel about the feedback that you've gotten so far?
Well, the first place we're always looking for feedback is our players.
Okay.
And at Blizzard, we have a really special relationship with the community. Right? And when Diablo III console came out the first time, like the reception was really strong and positive. Like, everybody had doubts at the beginning. Diablo on console, that can't work. And then with Diablo 3 console, we showed that it can work. It's direct control, moving the camera closer, and really started taking that care to make sure it really felt like it was built for the consoles. And then we were able to take a lot of the great feedback we got from the original console version, and we just added to Reaper Souls, which is why we added the Apprentice mode, which characters of different levels can now play together, the per player loot. So all these features are really things that our fans have wanted, and we wanted as well because we play the game all the time.
Okay, so Diablo on console sounds like a really great experience. What took you guys so long to make the shift from PC to console?
When it comes to Diablo 3, again, it was the most important thing is we wanted to make sure that the PC game was awesome, right? And then towards when the PC game was finishing, we had to sort of hand build the console team. Like, we wanted people to be really excited about the challenge of bringing this epic experience from the PC to the console. So,
was it a challenge for you guys to adapt the game for the consoles?
So being part of the initial console team, there were a few things that were challenging. Like, I think the biggest one is, you know, you have a game that's all about loot, so you need a lot of inventory. How do you make an inventory feel natural on the console if you don't have a mouse and keyboard and you can't just put text everywhere on the screen? So I think we spent a lot of time just, you know, trying to iterate and find what the right interface for it was. So that's probably the biggest challenge. But there was also a lot of really small challenges, like, you know, what are the big differences between the PC and the console versions? And all the skills, all the powers in the game have been tweaked because, again, direct control really changes everything. So some attacks we needed to speed up because every time you press the button, you didn't want to have any delay. You know, especially on the Demon Hunter with the speed of the projectile moving across the screen. So really, there were big changes, and there were a lot of really small changes. But the end result is we wanted to make it feel like we really want this to be awesome on the console. We're not going to do any shortcuts.
Speaking of all these changes, would you say that Diablo Ultimate Edition, Ultimate Evil Edition, and Reaper of Souls are totally different games?
Oh no, not at all. I think the best way to describe it is they're very different games, but they're still the exact same game. The soul of the game is there. All the interactions you're going to do with the game, the way you're going to be hunting loot, you know, killing monsters, adventuring through Sanctuary, the story, all the characters. The game is there, and it's the same thing on console or on PC. But the way you're going to experience that is a little bit different. As Josh was saying, you have indirect control. The rhythm of the game is actually different. You go from, you know, the staccato clicking rhythm to the flowing rhythm of moving your sticks. You use evade to roll out of danger. You know, you may be on the couch with 3 of your friends playing on one TV. So all those things make the interaction with the game different, but the game itself is still at its soul a Diablo game. It's unmistakable. It's still Reaper of Souls. You know, if you play on PC and then you go and play it on console, unmistakably you're going to be playing the game that you love, and you're going to just dive right into it without any problem.